Here he is, Tom Leykis. Thank you for tuning in to the Tom Leykis Show. This is where America gets together to talk about the issues you really care about. It's a different kind of a radio talk program. We're the radio talk show that is not hosted by a right-wing wacko or a convicted felon. No. I am your host. Write down our toll-free telephone number. You're going to need it. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of our program. We appreciate it. Here we are together again on the radio. And if I sounded nervous and bumbling, here I am. I screwed up my own opening, and the reason is because I know what's coming. I know what you're about to hear. And when I read this letter this morning, when I was going through all of my email, and by the way, when you write to me at tom@blowmeuptom.com, I read every email you send. Now, I don't respond to most of them, because if I had to respond to hundreds and hundreds of emails, I would not be able to do anything else in life. But I do read them all. And then in some cases, I find some of them so compelling, so outrageous, that you hear the results on the air. And let me tell you, you can't tune away now, because just this email will keep your attention, and then we're going to talk to the man himself, the man who wrote this email. And it is going to blow you away. Can I tell you something? It is going to blow you away. I completely recommend that you tune in, turn up the radio, and plan on staying next to the radio for the next hour. This is going to blow you away. It absolutely is. And let me start by reading it to you, and then we will get to the man who wrote it, because it's wild. I just got this morning. It just came off the printing press here. That's right. We don't use laser printer here. We have a printing press here at Westwood One. Tom, I am 28 years old, and last night my life took an incredible turn for the worse. The story I am about to tell you, pardon me if it's fragmented, I am still quite shaken up. I've been married to a woman who, on an LA scale, is a 10+. The most beautiful creature God has ever created. She's 24, and we've been married 3 years. Strike one, as I always say. So you got married at 21. Okay. And just recently, we collectively saved enough money to buy our first home. The lease on our condominium was up about 2 months ago. We have a 90-day escrow. And my parents, which is my father and my stepmother, invited us to stay with them in their large Malibu home until our escrow closes in early March. I could bore you with the BS of how happy everything was and how life was just grandiose, but what happened last night will blow your mind. I am a recording engineer. I was scheduled to work late last night, so I told my wife to have dinner with my folks, that I would see her around 3 a.m. We were having a late session at the studio. At about 7 p.m., the singer we were working with got a sore throat, and we discontinued the session. Thrilled to get out after a long day, I decided to surprise my family by showing up for dinner. Have you ever gotten that weird feeling when you pull up to a house that something's just not right? Well, I parked my car and walked into the house, which was lit in a way I had not seen before. I entered and made my way into the dining room, which looks out over my parents' living room, to see my wife in a threesome with my father and stepmonster. Dad was doing her, and her, my wife, pleasing my stepmom, who was only 38. So you understand what's going on here? Dad is banging the wife, and at the same time Dad is banging the wife, Mom is lapping it up, baby, with his stepmother, the 38-year-old stepmother. Now our letter writer says the first thing I did was grab the bottle of, it's an open bottle of red wine, from the counter, and I threw it as hard as I could, aiming for my father, who by now is mounting my wife. But it flew over his head and crashed through the picture glass window of his house. That got everyone's attention. Before anyone could react, I was out of there quicker than I arrived. What's done is done. We are about to close escrow on a home we both invested 50-50 in, with a huge down payment. But I never want to see any of them again. I have a friend who was kind enough to let me stay with him and his wife, but I don't want to impose on them. I feel like I have lost my wife, my entire family, really. I guess I thought you or your listeners could send some advice my way. There is much, much more to the story I'd love to share with you and the listeners that I think would blow you all away. I kept this email as short as I could because I wasn't sure if you'd even get this. So if you care, give me a ring. All the best, and thanks for taking the time. Signed, Eric. Well, we do have Eric on the phone here, and that is an amazing story.
Hey, Tom. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, Dad.
Well, son, I had no idea it was going to get this rough for you.
Ooh, boy, yeah. You know, I was talking to your producers on the show, and they're a great group, by the way, and I want to say thank you to them for making this as comfortable as possible. It has not been an easy couple of days.
Well, I'll bet it hasn't.
Yeah.
Now, have you heard from any members of your family since you wrote this email?
Since I wrote the email, or since I walked in on them?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it doesn't seem to indicate in here that you'd heard from anybody. Had you?
Oh, God, the phones ring off the hook. I'm actually staying. I was apprehensive about giving the station my number because I'm staying with a friend, and I kind of have been bouncing from place to place. I keep my cell phone off. I don't answer on calls that are unblocked. Or restricted numbers. I mean, yeah, they've been calling and leaving messages like unbelievably.
Wow. And what are they saying? Anything, or just asking you to call back?
Actually, of all people that's been calling, it's actually been my stepmom that's been doing most of the calling. We need to talk, we need to get together, and, I haven't returned any calls. I've got my own take on the whole situation, but, yeah, I totally ignored them. Not return the calls, but I've saved all the messages, obviously, because obviously it's all going to get down to legal when you go to divorce the bitch. But all the messages have been saved, and that's it.
Well, it's one thing to divorce the bitch, but your own dad is involved here.
Yeah, I know, and I consider her my mom. My real mom passed away when I was very young, and so she's like a mom to me too. So it's been a rough couple days, and. My sister and I have always joked, and I've not told her yet, we've always joked that we were able to deal with tragedy very well, and I've always felt, especially since my mom died, life's like Vegas. You go to Vegas, you get help, dealt a hand of cards. You cannot send them back and say, I don't like that hand. And I've always tried to live my life that way. It's what you get dealt is what you get dealt. You move forward and you deal with it.
And your wife, have you heard from her?
Oh, God, like 350 messages already, yeah.
And what does she say?
I listened to the first two, and I haven't listened to any more. Mostly it's been...
I mean, what possible explanation can anybody have for this?
At least the messages that I took the time to listen to, Tom, I didn't even... They weren't even anything other than, my God, call me. I love you. Call me. We need to talk. Call me. I mean, I stopped listening after the first two because they just were so pathetic, and I'm so angry they make me sick. I didn't want to listen to them.
And your dad, has he called you too?
No.
Oh, he hasn't called?
No, he hasn't had the balls. He had the balls to, bang my wife, but he hadn't had the balls to call his own.
Well, we know whose idea this was. I'll start with that.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
Did you ever suspect, and you say there's more to the story, and I want to get to that in a couple of minutes here, but did you ever suspect that this was even remotely possible? Did anybody ever look at anybody funny, or?
I'll tell you the only signpost, we've been married, a couple years, and The only signpost I had was my father's a photographer, and he, you know, my wife's very attractive. I didn't just say that in my email to get your attention. I mean, she is a 10 on a 10, L.A., all the way across the board. And she always wanted to model and do things. And my dad offered, hey, let me take some pictures. And they went out one day and took pictures like a year ago. And when I got the pictures back, I was a little uncomfortable. You know, it wasn't any nude or spread eagle or anything. She was, you know, kind of very sexy pictures. But he's never taken modeling pictures. You know what I mean? He's always done like, you know.
So he had no background doing that, but he jumped right in and offered his
help. In the modeling world, no. But it was like when I looked at the pictures, I was like, ugh. It kind of made me feel a little,
It's creepy. Your dad is taking pictures of your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought
creepy.
Like, you know, just headshots or something, and they wound up being like these sexy, you know, like her in these Daisy Duke type shorts and a tied in a knot shirt and kind of sleazy B-rate, you know, straight on the cover of Hot Rod Bikes type stuff, but a little bit more in-depth.
Not quite lowrider, but...
not quite, but on its way, yes.
Right.
Making its way down the hall.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, hang on there a second. We're going to continue. You heard Eric's email, and I know you've got comments for him, and we'll give you the opportunity coming up at 1-800-5800-TOM. But Eric says there's even more to the story, and I want to hear what he's got to say. Coming up...
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
Hello, Tom. How are you?
Do you care, Elise?
You know what? I really don't, but that's okay. I got on the air.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis Show, 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. And we are talking with Eric. Eric wrote to us and, in a nutshell, told us that he showed up at his folks' house for dinner, and his wife was going over to have dinner with them, and he was going to surprise them. You know, like, hey, I'm home early, let's have dinner. And when he got there, his dad was banging his wife, and his wife was pleasuring his stepmother all at the same time. It's all going on right there, right in front of him. And he hasn't talked to any of these people since then. Eric, you said you have more to the story, and we certainly want to know all, so do tell.
Oh, God, you'd be going way past your time slot, man. I wouldn't want to do that to you. You know, it started with the pictures. As I said in my email to you, Tom, we were staying in a condo we got together that we've been leasing, you know, since we got married a few years ago, and saving our money. I mean, saving it. It's funny that you had the guest on that you did before I've been on the show. I found that kind of ironic, and I just want to start out by saying I'm sure a lot of callers are going to say, oh, you should have talked to her. And her sex life was great, outstanding. And I'm not just saying that from a guy's point of view. It really was. You know, life's a weird thing. It doles out some pretty amazing twists. You know, my mother and father had a healthy marriage until she passed away. Everything was cool. And I guess my dad and stepmom, I assumed, had a healthy, normal marriage.
Right. Well, who knows what they were doing with other people? I mean,
well, that's the thing, is you start wondering what the hell is going on. And,
yeah.
But, you know, to go back to your question, sorry, I'm still kind of scatterbrained about
I
it.
understand.
We have, you know, we start our life together. We get, you know, cats. We get the stupid condo. We get cars. We get all this stuff. And we're saving our money for, you know, the dream, you know. And legitimately, it wasn't me just going out and making the money. Like, you know, you often talk your callers about, which I enjoy listening to, about the guys, you know, be careful. And you're not just a ticket. You know, she has a good job. She makes some decent money. And we had a huge down payment to put on a house that we found after about 9 months of looking, and we both contributed 50-50 down the middle, exactly the same amount. You know, I don't even know what to do about that. You know, the cats, everything. I mean, it's like ridiculous. All of our stuff's in storage.
And all mixed up together now.
Yeah, and I imagine she's...
I've been through this. Having been divorced myself, yeah, you get all your stuff together in boxes.
And what was really weird, let me back up, because I know this is what you really want, and it's weird because, you know, we're not a trailer park family. We got like a 9,000 square foot house in Malibu my parents own, clear, and they're successful. We were brought up well in good private schools. I mean, you know, you can either say, wow, the successful ones are the really screwed up ones, or it's the trailer park people. I always thought it was somewhere in the middle. And, but it was weird, you know, we'd be home, and as I said, my wife and I had an incredible sex life, and as soon as we moved into the house, it got really different. Stopped happening. You know, we were doing it a lot and often. Our newlywed years continued. You know, that first 6 months, the bliss and sexuality continued right until we moved. And her whole thing was, look, honey, we're only in this house for a couple of months. I feel really weird having our sex life in your parents, and I understand that. So, you know, a couple nights we'd go to a hotel, we'd stay out late, we'd park the car and do it somewhere along the coast. Everything seemed normal from my end, but obviously wasn't. And the only real signpost I had was the pictures that took place a year ago, which never really, you know, a couple of them got printed, they looked good, they got her some work, and, you know, it was a side thing she did not from her normal career. You know, it was weird. My dad actually pulled me aside about 3 weeks ago and said, do you know your wife, you know, was hitting the booze a little early the other day? And I go, what do you mean? And she said, well, you know, he said she was here Saturday, you know, hanging out at the house, and she was already cracking the beers open at 11:30, and my wife's not much of a drinker. Oh, it was Saturday, right? Yeah. I said, all right. So, and it was like kind of everything seemed in track with parents, kids, you know, so.
You could look at it another way, though, like he was trying to shake your confidence in your marriage.
Yeah. Well, he did that.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, before anything ever happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you know, hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
And you know, as I said, I've been listening to you loyally since like '97. I got turned on your show here in 97.1. Love your show, and you know, you take advice, you do, you don't, you fall in love, you go on, and some things you take and some things you don't, and I chose the path to get married and start a family and a life, you know, that's what I always wanted since I was young.
Yeah.
I always wanted what I thought my parents had, you know.
But remember, you married someone who was 21.
She was at the time, that's correct.
And that's, you know, I always tell the boys not to do
that. Was the only, yeah, I know. You are correct.
I mean, as much as people want to settle down sometimes and have families, I think you have to let people sow all their wild oats first, or this is...
And I know I did mine. That's, I think, you know, there is an age, and we're 4 years apart, not a whole lot, but I lived a very hard, fast life as a youngster. I traveled the world. I did a lot of fun things in my line of work and experienced a lot of exciting things, and I've done it all. I've said it all. I lived my life at that point. I was ready to...
We should remind people you were a recording engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you...
I've had a lot of good times.
Yeah, I know how that can be.
You do, yeah.
I do.
And the people that come through and the people they bring with them in abundance, it's all there.
But see, you were 25 when you got married.
Right.
And she wasn't. And you see, I do believe that 25 is a dividing line.
I know, I've heard you say it.
And I think you're a perfect example of this. You were ready, but she was 21.
Yeah. She should have been, you know, 25, 26, 27. At least.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Now, we're going to take a break here, Eric, and we're going to come back. We'll take some calls. Lots of people have something to say about this. If you have something to say to Eric, you can call him here toll-free at 1-800-5800-TOM.
The Tom Leykis Show. This is the Tom Leykis Show.
From Los Angeles at 1-800-5800-TOM. And now we go to your calls for our listener, Eric, at 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Questions? Comments? JJ on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, man. Eric, brother, I feel for you, man. Listen, tell me two things. Tell me, one, you don't have any kids with the bitch.
No.
And two, you had a prenuptial agreement.
Well, yes and no. No kids, just cats. And thanks for your siding with me on this one and being fairly gentle.
Who could be on the other side?
Oh,
exactly.
I've heard some pretty unbelievable calls come through to your shows. I don't know what I was gonna get. No. Prenup. We have separate bank accounts. We actually did sign something amongst each other, just saying that whatever is it going to hold up in court? No.
See, the thing is, Tom, he could end up paying this girl alimony.
Oh, trust me, I know. And married, 3, 4 years?
3 years.
3 years, so you could be paying 18 months of alimony here.
Yeah.
Man.
Good.
See,
And
Christ, I'm so mad over here, man. I can't believe. I'm listening to this story thinking, what the hell would I do? And, I got kids with her, Oh. But it's, thank God for that. Thank God all you got is animals, man, because, at the end of this, if you have to look at this chick for another day in your life, man, I feel for you.
It's ironic is we have two cats. One of them's quote-unquote mine, one is hers. I don't like the other one. She doesn't like mine, so... The only thing I think about right now, and I'm not even like an animal wacko, I like my cats. I can live with or without them, but it's like I know which one I want. She can have the other one,
Now, is she staying at your parents' house?
That's what I actually, when you had me on hold, and I was actually thinking, I go, God, if I were to call her, and obviously I'd call her cell phone, but God, she doesn't have the audacity to stay there, but yeah, she would. She'd still stay there and think that was okay somehow. I can just tell. I know she's still there. I know she is. She has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be.
I hesitate to even tell you this, but Dean thinks we should call her right now.
Can if you want.
All right. Hang on. That's what we'll do. We'll get the phone number. We'll take an early break here. Dean will get the phone number, and we'll call her on the air right now. Be sure to let her know she's on the air, Dean. Don't forget. Okay. All right. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. We're going to take an early break while we try to find... the bitch in question.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
How'd you marry somebody who doesn't like to go downtown?
I guess sheer stupidity.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
All right. We continue at 1-800-5800-TOM. We have Eric on the line, and we are still trying to find his wife, wherever she is. So Dino is in there dialing numbers, and we'll continue with your calls here. Mike on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Tom, Eric, how you guys doing?
Hi, Mike.
Eric, I'm sorry to hear what's going on. I've never heard of anything like this happen to anybody before.
And it makes for pretty good tabloid trash, man. Hollywood nonsense or whatever.
My heart goes out to you, bro. It truly does. What a crock. I think, though, sounds like your dad's got quite a bit of money, and I think you've got quite a suit against him.
Are you a lawyer?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I expected a lot of lawyers to be calling in.
No, I'm not. I'm a guy, though, that's fairly creative, and I think for a lot of emotional, psychological damages, get that woman of yours to sign a paper that she's going to close in the house and walk away. She should close, sign, walk, uncontested divorce.
Yeah,
I'd make the parents pay for the tuna at the table.
Yeah, well, nice term there. Thanks. I honestly, I think we're past, I've got to call in my real estate broker. I think we're past our contingency period, I guess is what they call it. It's my first house.
Well, does that mean that you have to buy the house? Does that mean you lose your deposit
or something?
Right. You know what? I must tell you, one time I had an escrow date to close on a house, and I found out the Friday before the Monday that my wife at the time was banging somebody else.
Ooh.
And I had a deposit down the house. That house happened to be $5,000, and I lost the $5,000, but I'd rather lose the $5,000 than end up in divorce court debating over who owns the house.
Yeah.
Well, you'll pay that much in legal fees.
Oh, yeah.
To figure out who owns the house when you're all done.
I know. And unfortunately, we each have $25,000 in, so it's a $50,000 plus we got.
That's a big deposit.
That's a huge deposit. We're first-time buyers, and we wanted low rates. And
right.
As I said, I had a little bit of a wild life in the past, and I don't have the best credit. It's not horrible, but I put down a lot to show I was serious and was able to step up.
Yeah.
And she was fine with that too. I mean, as I said, we went in 50-50.
Wow. Maybe your dad wants to compensate you. He owes you at least that much.
At least, yeah.
Karen on the Tom Leykis Show with Eric. Hello.
Hello. Eric, I'm a female, and
I think,
and I'm going to say that, first of all, revenge is best served cold, and the best revenge is living well. And even though you guys had great sex, you and I could have great sex. I mean, sex is just a body function.
Is that an offer, Karen?
I mean, I was going to look at, there's plenty of single, hot, good-looking women who have their stuff together who would make her look like crap, who wouldn't screw your dad and his wife.
What does what does her mother look like?
What does my mother look like?
No. I'm asking Eric what his wife's mother looks like.
Her mother is actually my stepmother.
Yeah. No. Her mother. Yeah, your wife's mother.
Oh, my wife's mother.
Your mother-in-law.
Yeah, she lives back east. They're back in Connecticut. She's not a horrible-looking woman, actually. It's like I look at my wife and say, okay, in 30 years, it's not bad.
You can live with that.
Yeah.
But not worth flying to Connecticut to cause trouble.
No, I can get some revenge in there. No.
But he should leave her.
What's that?
You should get rid of her. You're only 25. Just get rid of her.
I'm 28.
Cut your losses. You're 28?
I'm 28. She's 24.
You should cut your losses. Get rid of her. I mean, what do you want to tell people? Oh, my wife is beautiful. She's good in the bed, in the sack, and she slept with my dad. You don't want to be with somebody that's your history. And if you get back together with her, you're going to be pissed off every time you look at her because you're going to think about, she screwed my dad, and who else is she out there screwing? Plus, she likes women, too, obviously, so you have to worry about every other person out there.
Did you ever even know that your wife was into that?
I'll tell you something funny, and again, I'm trying to find humor in this. My uncle, I'm not going to say his name because I got a few uncles. I've got an uncle in San Diego that he left his wife back in 1979 because he walked in on her in bed with another woman, and I used to tease him and say, dude, that's a prize. You don't leave that. You know what? I understand now. I understand.
Yeah.
I used to tease him. I was a kid when this happened.
Yeah. It's different when you bring a chick home and say to your wife, okay, here. But not when you find out as a surprise.
Right.
Different.
Yeah.
Karen, thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Harold on the Tom Leykis Show with Eric. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Harold.
How's it going?
Okay.
Eric, I feel for you, man. Sorry to hear what's going on with you. But I just got one simple advice. Just dump that bitch, man. Get over with. Count your losses and move on. You're a young guy. You seem smart. You sound smart. Just move on and count your losses. That's it.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I what's funny is in a very weird state of calm. I'm okay. Of course, I'm going to feel the pain as time goes on, but I'm like done. It's like the hard thing is the family now. That's my concern because I'm still close with my sister, my cousins, my uncles.
Do they know about this?
I haven't told them. I mean, my sister I've talked to, but I'm very careful what I tell her just because, she's had family issues over the years.
Uh-huh.
Nothing like this. I mean, other things, but, it's just, I don't know what to do.
Well, Harold, would you tell the family?
That's a hard thing. I don't know. I mean, I've never heard of something like this, but, I mean, they are your family, You choose your friends, but you can't choose your family, so that's a hard thing, so I feel for you.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Blow
me off, Tom.
Here you go. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. John on the Tom Leykis Show for Eric. Hello.
How you doing, Professor?
All right, John.
Good to hear from you. Eric, my heart goes out to you.
Thanks, man.
I'm sitting here typing out my rebuttal letter on my divorce right now, and I'm listening to you and Tom, and I'm right in the middle of it. Okay? I'm right there with you, so hang in there. I commend you for coming forward and sharing, but I'm telling you right now, you got to listen to the professor and practice Leykis 101. Dump the bitch. I was married 11 and a half years, 3 kids.
Ouch.
I pay over $1,000 in alimony every month, and I'm telling you, actually child support, excuse me. And
alimony you're going to pay. And alimony.
Yeah. Wow. And I'm telling you right now, dump her and move on. And you just asked the last gentleman about the family. I'm sorry, but you gotta just speak the truth and tell it like it is. Let everyone know.
Hey,
straight up.
I am sorry to hear you're going through what you're going through, especially with the kids. I mean, that's the one thing, my friends and I that I've been staying with keep saying is thank God there are no children.
Yeah.
Cats ain't gonna get it. But, everybody says, dump the bitch, move on. I can do that, but you're forgetting 50%. But there's a whole family issue. There's a lot here that I'm still, completely spinning on. I have no clue.
You're not ready to do anything yet, not because you don't want to do anything, just because you're stuck.
I don't know what to do. I mean, family, I've always said blood's thicker than water, but,
I personally believe that your dad should be groveling at your feet right now, kissing your feet, and doing any and everything.
His dad is hiding. His dad's the biggest pussy in the world.
Totally.
He's hiding.
Totally. There's no doubt about it.
I know he's hiding.
Yeah, we should call him too, Dean. You're right.
No, I'm not ready to have that out on the air.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it. You give me 10 minutes with your dad, I'll take care of him.
Dad, meet my new dad.
That's right, exactly. I'm taking over from here.
You know, it's funny, and not to bust your chops, Tom, at all. I remember one time we were driving somewhere and I wanted to listen to your show, and he's like, I've heard that guy before. You can make me listen to that. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's sometimes fun. You listen to the people that call, these people that get themselves in situations. It's just funny. Here I am. I know he's not listening to the show, unless, of course, somebody's called him. But I don't think he's told anybody. But it's just ironic how uncomfortable he got when I wanted to listen to your show a while back when we were driving somewhere together.
Yeah.
Sounded kind of odd.
Yeah, well, you know, I always, especially if somebody is prominent or has money or is in a community.
Yeah.
Did you say he lives in Malibu?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always fun to find the local newspaper and take out a full-page ad, let everybody know who their neighbors are.
Can I do that?
Well,
because I have thought about it.
I would certainly do it with an attorney's help.
Okay.
But it would certainly be fun. Look, you can only be sued for slander. If you tell the truth, what's he going to sue you for?
Well, I don't know. Everything's stuck in escrow, so sue me for what?
Yeah, well, there you go.
You can have my wife.
Yeah, you're certainly right about that.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
Didn't you say that every man likes fake breasts?
I said in this country, my husband's Brazilian.
They love those asses in Brazil. You got a big whopping J-Lo ass. You know what I'm saying? You got that Jennifer Lopez thing going on.
No.
Big ass.
The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM. Can't find the wife, huh, Dean? Okay, we're trying. It's Dorothy on the Tom Leykis Show for Eric. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
All right, Dorothy.
Well, actually, my comment was to you, and that was, I'm way out of your demographics. I'm 47 years old. I have two boys that are 24 and 21, and I listen to your show so that I can relay to them all of the situations that you bring onto your show. And for everyone who has called you with a negative comment, this is what your show's about. I am so glad that Eric felt comfortable that he could call and explain the situation to you, share it with your audience so that we all could learn from him. And I wish him well, and I hope things that will work out for him because, you know, one way or the other, things will work out for him, and I wish him the best.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your kids are lucky.
Thank you for the call, Dorothy. Yolanda, you're on the Tom Leykis Show with Eric. Hello.
Yeah. Hey, Tom. Hey, Eric.
Hey.
Tough situation, and I feel for you, but interesting. We're talking a lot about the wife. There's been some mention of your dad, and Eric, how are you dealing with the betrayal that your dad chose to participate in? That's a tough one. You can get to the divorce and what's going to happen with your wife, but what about your dad, your blood? How are you dealing with that?
I'm still trying to figure that out, Yolanda. As I said, you know, after the last caller, I still, you know, yeah, I mean,
that's something your dad chose to do. He knew what he was doing. It's his own son's wife.
Yeah.
That's something.
I don't know. I don't know how to deal with it yet. I don't know.
Therapy, all that good stuff. Something. I hope you can get through it because that's a tough one.
I think a trip to like Hawaii or something is the first thing. I've got, you know, as I was telling the guy when I was on hold, I think I'm just going to take some time and finish up something I'm doing right now with work and just bail out, check out for a while. Not do anything stupid like, you know, I'm not like emotionally unstable, but just go check out and go far away.
Does he talk to you often or does he call you often?
Well, before this, yeah, we actually were very close, talk a lot, you know, normal father-son relationship, but it's I'd say closer than most. I mean, a lot of my friends talk to their parents once a month, birthdays, holidays.
Right.
I talk to them once, twice a week. You know, try to slip over to the house for a ball game, go to ball games together, do things like that.
You don't want to think about how long this has been going on.
If his dad was able to participate in this, what else is going on?
Well, what you wonder is this the first time it ever happened?
Right.
I doubt that.
Relationship
it was
in the future.
it was too comfortable. It was because I walked in and it's like, you know, their kitchen, you walk in through the back side and you like look over the living room. It's kind of a sunken down living room.
Uh-huh.
And it's like one of those things where you look in and it's like, this is not what I'm, and everything's in slow motion, but it was too comfortable to be uncomfortable for them.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, Yolanda, I don't think it was the first time.
Wow.
I mean, just by what I saw, it just all looked too, you know, comfortable.
Thank you, Yolanda. I've got one more call here before we wrap up the hour. Gus on the Tom Leykis Show with Eric.
Hey, how you doing, Eric?
Hey, what was your name, Gus?
Yes.
Hey, Gus, how are you?
All right, I got a question for you there, buddy. How long has that been your stepmom?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
How long has that been your stepmom?
Boy, I don't celebrate the anniversary. I think my mom passed when I was 15, she's been 20, about 9 years.
Tell them why you asked, Gus.
I asked because I think if I'd have walked in on a situation like that, I think I'd have went on and joined the party.
You need a little levity.
I knew I'd somehow smile by dealing with you and your callers.
You need a little levity there. All right, Eric, we have to run for today, but we're going to follow up on this. Thanks so much and good luck.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Write us, The Tom Leykis Show. Post Office Box 4455, Hollywood, California, 90078. Email us. Our email address is my name. It's tom@blowmeuptom.com. Tom@blowmeuptom.com. We call our comment line. The number is 3.